Hello, welcome to another special Sudoku solve video. Today I am continuing the Sudokuvania puzzle. I should really think more about that intro, but that's okay. Because I don't know. Uh, yeah, that type of intro, it sounds YouTubery, but that's fine, I guess. I got a comment saying, these four is aligned, so one of those is a four. Then those four is aligned, so they place a four here, placing a four there. So, I said I was stuck, but then again, I didn't look at it further much yet. But I really appreciate people trying to help me out because, this puzzle is, by how it's structured, it is difficult. So so help like that, it is appreciated. Then we continue. The same trick with the 9. 9 there, 9 there, so we place a 9 there. And that reveals the boss. I have the boss link pre-placed in because the links are still broken in the puzzle. They are aware of it and it's being fixed, so I'm curious to see how that goes. But first, Book Constrictor by SkepticalMario. Finally, the library awaits. Surely the secret of Sudoku lies within one of its many tomes. In your excitement, you've almost forgotten why you were so daunted by the castle at first, until horrendous scraping sounds filled your ears. You look up from the joy of Snyder notation, in time to see the tail of a gigantic serpent vanish between the shelves in the distance. Oh no, you move quickly to avoid letting the snake touch you, even diagonally. Sudoku, place the digits from 1 to 9 each into each cell without repeating in a row, column, or 3x3 box as normal rules. Killer cage's digits in a cage sum to the corner in its upper left corner. To the corner in its upper left corner. Cool. Odd. The gray circles contain odd digits. Column indexing. A digit on a... Yeah, so that's the indexing rule we also have in the normal Sudokuvania puzzle. So that makes this a 159 puzzle. Actually I think it's my favorite puzzle I've solved. It was a 159 puzzle. Well, maybe besides this, but this is just a massive piece of art, and that's more of a standalone puzzle. As a standalone puzzle, I think it was called A Beautiful Nightmare. I forgot by who made it, but it was a Knight's Move 159 puzzle, and I don't know. It was beautiful. That's just maybe I'll show it sometime. But snake. Draw a 1-cell white snake in the grid. The snake moves orthogonally and does not branch or touch itself, even diagonally. The head and tail of the snake are 2 gray circles in box 6. The snake does not enter cages. Every digit on the snake is odd, and every codex cell that indexes itself is on the snake. So these are the heads of the snake. The head and the tail, kinda. So, where do we start? Well, okay, so it's going to have to touch every one of these columns. So most specifically this one, because there is a 1 in this column and that indexes itself, so it has to touch that. So this cannot be 1, 4, that is 2, 3. Because if it was 1, the snake would have to enter that cage. So we align those. And then those go there. That's so the snake has to enter this somehow. So the snake cannot do that. So if it moves down, we have a problem because then it connects. So it moves up. This cannot be 7, 8 because if it would be, that would place a 5, 2 5s here. Right, because if that's a 7, that's a 5, then that's an 8 and that's a 5, or the other way around. So that doesn't work. So that is 6, 9. The place a 5 in one of those and in one of those. This now cannot be 4, 6 or 1, 9, so it is 2, 8 or 3, 7. This cannot be 2, 9. It cannot be 5, 6. So it is 3, 8. Or what's the other way? 4, 7. If that's a 3, it plays a 9 there, placing a 2 there. But that does seem fine. So where do we continue? That's now odd. And it places a 9. But that could place, just couldn't be a 1. Could be a 3, could be a 5, could be a 7, or it could be a 9 itself. Okay. So we need to be mindful of odd digits, because the snake can only move onto odd digits. And of the self-indexers, because it has to cross the self-indexers. So how do you continue? I think, right, because this having to be odd, that doesn't mean anything. Well, okay, so something general about 159 puzzles is that if we, what I thought about here, right, that 7 and 8 would place it there, that is because you cannot have, you basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, so the high, middle, and low digits. Every string of 3 within every box has to have a high, middle, and low digit on its string of 3. Because if it doesn't, it would place, you know, if it was in this column, it would place 2 5s in the same place, in the same box, and that doesn't work. So that is, but that's just a general fact about 159 puzzles. So this is a low digit, the 2 or the 3. The 7 or the 8 is a high digit, so this has to be a middle digit. And it cannot be a 6, so one of those is a 5. Stuff like that, that works. That does work. So we need a high and a middle digit here, but, you know, whatever. Okay, so one thing, the snake has to grab one of those cells. How could it ever not grab that cell? Because if that's the one, you know, it has to touch it. Because you cannot turn into that corner with a smaller loop than that, because it'll touch itself. So it'll take that cell. If that's the one, the same thing applies. You cannot take this digit without taking that digit, or that is the one. So it does always take that cell. Now, is it a possibility that it doesn't move through here? Let's say that is blocked off, right? How can we grab this one without going through that cell? We have to loop like that, but then you have too many odd digits, so that doesn't work. And it has to move through, so it takes all of those. I am scared that I'm making a leap of logic there. But I don't think I am, right? Because there is no way to take this one without taking that cell. Because you have to move into that box somewhere. So wherever that is, you have to also move out of it. It cannot be this middle way, it cannot be this top way, and it cannot be this lower way. So it has to be like this. It has to. One thing about an 11 case is it always contains an odd digit, because if it doesn't, it's 2 even digits and then it's an even total. So it does contain an odd digit, so we have 4 odd digits in this box. So the 5th odd digit, which is the 1, cannot be there, because the 1 is up here, right? So this has to be the next odd digit, and it also has to take that 1. So we know that this is a 1, and we know that that is a 1. That's a 2, that's a 3. Do we know more about this 11 cage now? We know that it's not 2, 9, so that cannot be a 3 anymore. So that cannot be an 8. But that's it. However, we know that one of those is a 9. Well, yeah, we know that one of those is a 9, that's it. That's all we kind of do. No. Well, it's not that one, because then that would have to be a 1. So that's not it. Ooh. So one of those is a 9. Because we use all the odd digits, right, and it's not in this cage. So this is a 1 or a 2. Oh, well, okay, so we can do the same trick. I should have seen that before. This is a middle and a high digit, so it needs a low digit. So that's 1, 2, or 3. So one of those is a 5. Where that's an odd digit, and it's not 5. It's not 1 or 3, so it is 7 or 9. Oh, if that's 9, then that's a 2, so that is a 7. And we have most of the odd digits in this box. We just have the 9 left over. Yeah, we just have the 9 left over. But I cannot say anything about the 9, I don't think. Because this snake can move out if it wants to. It can move. It cannot. If it moves up, it cannot move up, right? Because if it does, how are you going to get out? If you move up, then that's a 9. The next odd digit is either this 5. It is this 5, and then you're just stuck. So it cannot move up, so it moves there. That's not a 1 now, we know that. So one of those is a 5, but, you know, sure. So, I felt like I moved quickly through that, but I'm not seeing it at this point. So the 3 is in one of those because this contains all the odd digits. Sure. This doesn't necessarily have to move down here, does it? Because it can just... No, but that places too many digits in this column, but we can loop around it, I think. Yeah, that does work, as far as I can tell. So, where am I looking at? This has to be an odd digit, and it's not 3, and it's not 9. So it can be 1, it's not 3, it can be 5. If it's 5, it places a 1 there, that doesn't work either. So it's 1 or 7. This can never be an odd digit. Can it? Yes, it could. It could be an odd digit, but it cannot be on the snake, because then you have too many odd digits. That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I got through what is supposed to be the opening logic, but I quickly got stuck. We have most odd digits now. We only have the 9 to place. So, okay, so could that ever be... That can never be an odd number, because it sees 1, 3, and 7, it sees the 9, and it sees a 5. So that has to be the next cell in the snake. And there's only one digit we can place there, and that's a 9. So that's a 3, that's the 5, that's the 5, That's a 9 and that's a 6. Nice. That felt right. Now 3 is up there, but that's sure, right? So the next odd, but that can move up or it can move there. We still have 1 or 7 to place. Right. So one of those is an 8. Because you need, like I said, you need a low, a medium, and a high digit. And 7 and 9 are taken. So one of those is an 8. So one of those is a 1. But that only looks at this cell. Which can be a lot of stuff. It can even be a 9. It could be a 5 with an 8 there. That all does seem to work. So what odd digits am I missing? So 1 is taken, so it is 3, 7, 5, and 9. That couldn't be a 9. Those couldn't be a 3. That cannot be a 7-9 pair because of the box logic, the placing 2 1s there. So one of those is a 5. So that's not a 5. So that's not a 5. Oh. So that is not a 1. Okay, can this snake ever not pass through here? And I don't think it can at this point, because it cannot loop back on itself. So it does take those 3 cells. So that has to be odd, and that has to be the 5. I'm scared that I'm going to mix up the columns. Like, for example, seeing, oh, that's a 3, so that has to be a 1, something like that. That's a quick way to make a mistake in these puzzles. This is 5, 9, so that's a 1, 7 pair. Because that's the only odd digits left, so that is even, so it isn't part of the snake, so that is. But this could, this 1, 7 places that, breaks that, so that's a 1 now. So that's an 8, and that's a 4 or 6. That 8 places an 8 in one of those. And I guess in one of those, but I'm not prepared to mark that yet. Now that could never be part of the snake anymore. Because if it is, right, you need to move out and it's like that, and then you have 5 cells, but there's already a 1 there. So that doesn't work. But this could be a way to make it work, I think. No, because you have all the odd digits. I'm sorry, I should have seen that. That goes there, and like I said, it couldn't go there, so it goes there. Now, if you move up, you have 1 more odd digit, and that's the 9, and that doesn't work. Because then you cannot pass back through. So that is the odd digit. Not 1, 3, or 5. It's not 9, so we know it is 7. So the next odd digit is either that one or that as a 9. In fact, okay, so we have low, we have a medium, we need a high digit. That's an 8 or a 9. But you don't know which one, right? Because that could be that and that. Oh no, wait, if that's a 9, it self-indexes, and that isn't possible. So that's 8, that's a 9, that is part of the snake. So we have half the snake done. What are we missing? 4, 6. I think that's not. What am I missing in this box? Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. That's not a 6. That is also a 2 or a 4. That is also a 2, 4, or 6. And this is also a 2, 4, or 6. You know, it's kind of logical that it's all even digits, isn't it? 2, 4, or 8? Yes. It makes sense. That does. Oh, this 3 now breaks up this. I could have seen that before, but that's okay. So this makes one of those a 5, makes one of those a 5. This is now a 3 or a 7. This is now a 5, 1, 7, or 9. It's not a 1, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, we know quite a lot more about how it's going to work out now. But how is it going to work out? Because is there I'm not sure. I'm debating. Where else can we look? I'm sorry. I'm just taking a bit to take in the puzzle. So this needs, that's not a 7. So we have a 3 or a 9. This cage is either 4, 7 in that order, or it is 3, 3, 8 in some order. It's 3, 8 in some order. That cannot be an 8 because that cannot be a 9. So we know that this is 4, 7. So this cannot be 4, 7. So did I get all the options? Not 4, 7. We looked at that. It could be 3, 8. It couldn't be 2, 9. And it couldn't be 5, 6. Yes. So that's a 7. So that's a 4. That's a 7. That 4 places the 9 there. This 7 places a 9 there. So that has to be a 9. So I need a medium digit here, and it's a 6. So one of those is a 6. So one of those is a 9. Yeah, sure. If one of those is a 5, one of those is a 1, I guess, yeah. This 3, 8. Well, what can this be? I don't feel like it can be a whole lot, because it could be 1. Oh, but it doesn't have to be even. But where can 5 go? It could be in any of those. Not couldn't be there. So it is 1, 5, or 7. It couldn't be 7. So this is 1 or 5. I don't know. I think it still could be self-referential. Or that one might be. I have a feeling for how the puzzle's flowing that this will be. But that's a feeling, and I'm not going to rely on that. That could be odd, so that could be the next cell. 159, so that's a 3 or 7. Did I do everything with the digits that I've placed? Nine is in one of those. Not in one of those. So it's there. Couldn't be there. So you need a 1 or a 2, but you know because of the column logic. Okay. That now cannot be a 7, that's the 1. That's the self-referential 1 as well. So none of those are a 1. What does that do? Don't think it does anything. So if there is a next digit, it is a 5, 7, or a 9. Right, if this is also a snake, that's what I'm looking at. It's not a 5, it could be a 7 or a 9, so one of those could be a 1. But that seems okay. Oh well, this is now not a 9, 4. It could be 5, 8 or 6, 7. Oh, it couldn't be 6, 7, so it is 5, 8. So 5 is one of those, so that's... Okay, so if that's a 5, that's an 8, and that couldn't be an 8. So that isn't a 5. That's the 8. That's the 5, and that is a 7. Yeah, okay, that does work. So we need a small and a medium digit. But I don't know. I cannot say anything about that. 3 cannot be there, so it's in one of those. Okay. Oh, well, 3 is in one of those, so that's a 9. So that's a 2. Okay, fair enough. 9, then that's not a 9. So if that is an odd digit, it's a 9, which will place a 1 there, which seems totally fine. So I don't know. In fact, one of those has to be a 9. So one of those, so this is a 1, 6 pair. But we also know that by the column logic. 6, yes. So I need a certain amount of odd digits to exit this cell, to exit this box, right? Let's first place in the 2. Oh, that's almost a mistake. What am I missing here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 4 and 6. That makes sense. More sense at least. It's very easy to make a mistake. And you know, in like, I saw this on one of the Cracking the Cryptic comments, and I thought it was interesting. It is much easier to find a mistake if you're watching, right? Than if you're solving, because what they said basically is if you're solving, you're not being pointed to the mistake, while if someone else reviews your work, they are looking to find mistakes, and people tend to not look for mistakes in their own thinking, which, you know, that is likely be seen as a bad thing. I don't know, it just seemed overall interesting to me, to see how people's thinking works, I guess. So one of those a 1. Where's the other 5? It is in one of those 2. One of those 3. So either that's a 5, or that's a 4. Yeah, so it's a 1, 4, or 5, but that's also by the column. So 3, yeah, we had that. I'm sorry. That's double doing things. I'm uncertain now. Right, this cannot move up, obviously, but it could move to the side, making that a 1. Oh, well, that's a 5. Well, okay. And then I miss things like that, right? And I don't... And I'm just thinking to myself, why? Why can I just not scan sometimes. So that's a 6. So this is a 3, that's a 1. Makes sense. That's a 7 now. That 7 moves down because that's the only way it can go. Or no, because then it touches diagonally. Okay. So that's now an odd digit. And it's not 1, 7, or 9, so it's 3 or 5, and it's not a 3, so it's a 5. So that is an 8, that's a 2, that is a 5. That all makes sense. It's still all working. So that cannot be an odd digit, because then it would be a 3, and it sees the 3. So that is the next cell. This 6 places a 6 there, which removes that 6 from those two. So one of those is a 3 because of Sudoku. Right, what are we missing in this column? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 or 8. And in this box it is 1, 2, 3, 2 or 4. So we know that that's a 2, that's a 4. So if it continues there, that's a 3. If it continues there, that is a 3. Both do seem to work, right? Both to me do seem to work. That 7 is already... Have I placed every... I think I've placed everything I needed to place. One of those is medium, so another 4 or 6. So that places a 1 in any of those. That aligns with those. That also makes sense. Oh, what am I missing in this row? Well, okay, my spotting today. That's a 2. So that's not a 2. I hope it'll be better, a bit better when I do the Sudokuvania puzzle. But if not, we persevere, I guess. These days are also always, a thing. If it does enter that cage, it must move out like that, and that might be a problem. Because that's all the odd digits, right? So that will be a 4-6 pair. But that does work. Now, is there any reason why this cannot be a 3? And that's a 7. No, that does seem fine. Maybe I reason from this end. Because... Okay, my first thing was... Oh, it cannot ever enter into this box. It never could. Because if it does, right, how are you going to reach this? Because that 2 and this 2-8 blocks it, this 2-8. That blocks it, so it doesn't. So it moves down here. So that's not a 4, we know that that's a 5, and that's a 4, that's a 5. And there we go. I say there we go, but that doesn't... That cannot both be odd, so it does take that cell. Then either that's a 3 or that's a 3. Or possibly both, I guess. Right. Could that be a possible way of working? If that's it, right, then that is 4-6. But that does also seem fine. Yeah. Okay, so where does 2 go in this row? 2 isn't one of those, so 2 is then there. Okay. I have placed most of the 2s, but not every single one. So what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I so stuck on this? It feels like it's almost the end, right? If it enters this, then we have to take every odd digit to get to there. So we have to move like that. If it doesn't, we still have to move like that. Could we ever take that cell on the snake? Yes. With another 3 or 7. Then that will be a 3, that will be a 7. But that does work. But could we ever not take that 5? No, we never. That isn't a possibility. So we always take that 5. Do we always take this cell? If we do not take that cell on the snake, we move through here, and then we have a problem. So we also take that cell. But the next one is, that could be a 3, that could be a 7, and then we don't have to take that cell. But then we take this one. E, okay. These could both be even. Both be even. 3, 4, 5. Oh, that 4 places the 6. And the 4, I don't know how relevant that is, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's that, a 4, 2, 4, 6. Pretty relevant, okay. That's not a 6 now. That makes that a 2, 4, 2, 8. The very, very relevant. What? 3, 6. So I'm missing a 3, 8, or 7. I don't like that pencil mark. What am I missing in this column? It is 1, 2, 3. I'm missing 4 and 9. So one of those is a 1. I'm going to remove that 9 pencil mark. Oh, this 4 places the 9 there, places the 1 there, places the 6. That places a 4, a 4. That places a 1. That places a 9. That does do a lot more. But still not the thing I needed it to do, I don't think. 3s, no, 6s, maybe. Well, that's a 6. So one of those is 6, so we know it's that one. So that's even, so it goes through there. And with that's even, so it goes through there. And this is also a 3 or 7. That's also a 3 or an 8, so it's an 8. That's the 3. That's an 8. So in this row we're missing 1, 2, 3, 3 and 4. So that is a 7. Isn't it? Yeah, it is. That's a 7. That's 3, 7. How do we resolve this then? Oh, well, that's 6 does. So that's a 6. That's a 3. That's a 4. That's a 3. That 3 makes that an 8. I'm going to finish the snake, and that's a 3. And I think there we have it. 37 minutes. Okay. The snake continues to slither between the shelves of the library looking for you. You thank your lucky stars that your Kropke socks have enabled you to climb up the highest shelves, atop the highest shelves. You wait for the right moment and leap onto the snake's head, dislodging its glasses. Wait, what? Oh dear, the snake exclaims. I'm sorry, could you help me find those? In a long, pleasant chat, the snake tells you the secret is not located in the library. The masters of the castle have removed knowledge of the arcane process known as Sudoku and are using it for some nefarious purpose in the highest tower. No one has been able to get to them. The clues in the Hall of Illusions are just too confusing, the snake explains. But there is one person who could possibly help. She resides in another realm. I can open the way for you, if you help me reach that book way up there. The friendly snake will open a portal to elsewhere for you. Enter 9 into this puzzle's boss digit in Sudokuvania. So that means that is a 9. Exclamation mark. What does the exclamation mark mean? Wall sandwiches. Find Mr. Snake's hidden food. Wall sandwiches quest. I hid some snacks in the walls of the castle in case I get hungry later, but I'm hungry now, and I can't remember the recipes. If I tell you where to find them, can you look and see where they are made of? Wall food clues next to a row or column indicate the sum of the digits between the two crust digits in that row or column. Different food icons can have different crust digits. The sum between the digits in the two crust digits in that row or column. What is... Oh, 17. 17. Wait. So this and then... I'm sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out. 17. So we need a sum of 17. Or is that then 1 and 7? That is 9, 18. No, that doesn't track. I do not understand the food clue. What does the food clue mean? It's a sum between two crust digits. So where can we make 17? Like, for example, this 8 and 3, then we have 17 between. I can see that. But what does that mean? Given the food icon and sum for three row, enter the two digits low and high respectively in this panel to complete the quest. Ah, okay, I understand. So my hypothesis is that it is 8 and 3. And this one, if we look at 17, between 8 and 3, we have 17. And if we look between this one with 8 and 3, we have 17. So it is 8 and 3. Or better said, 3 and 8, I'm pretty sure. Ah, okay. So that's just a side quest puzzle. Okay. You know what? I'm going to complete some side quests, I think. I'm sorry. I am there's at this point so much to do. There is the serpent little add-on puzzle. There is the sandwich thing with the food clues. Okay, I need more knowledge for the food clues, I think. So I am going to wait with that. I am going to look at the serpent puzzle because, right, hidden puzzle. Into each row and column in the 2x2 box, and then we have the scribe clue. So how many digits can you see? So every one has 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. So the maximum you could see is 4. And so these eyes are the same. I am going to wait, no, I'm not going to label that. I'm going to label these within this, because that is the same digit. That is the same digit. So we know that that is the same digit. So we know that that is the same digit. Then this one, it's not orange, not blue, so it's a new color. So that's that one. and that one. That makes sense. That one, we know that that's blue. We know that that is a new color, yellow. You are yellow now. So that, and that. So that's that one, and that is orange as well. That isn't right, is it? Oh, yes, it is. Because after purple comes orange, and after orange comes blue. So that cannot be a 4, because if that's a 4, it sees a 4. That doesn't work. So that is 1, 2, or 3. If that's 3, then that's a 3, and then it can only see 2 digits, so that's not true. So blue is 1 or 2. And I guess we don't know which one this is, but it is the same. Blue is 1 or 2. Then orange. Orange can, if the orange is 4, it cannot see 4 digits, so that's not true. So it is, if it's 3, it could see 3 digits, and then that is 1 or 2. That does work. So this is 1, 2, or 3, I guess. If purple is 4, and orange is 1. If blue is 2, does yellow now have to be 4? Because let's say yellow is 3, right? No, that's not true to say. Orange cannot be 4. So if yellow isn't 4, then purple is 4. So how can you only see 2 digits? Because then this is 1 or 2. So it will see the 3 if purple is 4. Because like I said, orange cannot be 4. Orange cannot be 4. So that does mean that if purple is 4, then it sees this one. It sees the 3 between here somewhere, and it sees the 4, and then that's a 3, and that doesn't work. So yellow has to be 4. And now it is automatically 2, I guess. So that's a 2. So we know that blue is 2. Oh, wait. Did I color somewhere else? Because it will change the digits, won't it? I have no coloring anywhere else. Okay, that helps. I have to remove the coloring here as well then. Can I zoom in more? No. Okay, sure. Oh, I can zoom in with the internet page, I guess. So that cannot be 2, because orange cannot be 2. Could that be 1? If that is 1, then that is 3. But that does seem to work. If that is 1, then that is 3, then that is a 4. But that does work. Yeah, it does, because these see the same arrangement of digits. If that is now a 3, then that's a 3, and that's a 1, and that also does work. So how could you ever figure this out? Because at this point, right, this is 1, 3, that's 1, 3, that's 1, 3, that's 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Let's look at it. Because either that's 3, and then these digits are both 2, or that is 1, then that's a 3, and these digits are both 4. So there must be a problem then. If that is, oh, that cannot be 1. Well, okay, that's it. That's a 3. Okay. That's the puzzle. That was honestly a bit easier than I expected. So that's a 2, and that's a 2 as well. And that should be the hidden puzzle done. Okay. How long am I on this recording? 50 minutes. Well, let's check it out, see if I can find anything else in the meantime. I still don't know what these numbers on the edge do have to have a meaning somewhere. I am going to wait with that 19 for this one as well, because I think that's just an extra thing. That's 2-7, not 2-7, it's not 3-6. Could be 1-8, I guess, or 4-5. If it is 4-5, that would tangle that up. Oh no, it isn't 4-5. The 4, that's a 4. So it isn't 4-5, so it is 1-8. So that's not an 8. So one of those is a 1, I guess. Don't like that messy pencil marking, but that's a 9. That's a 4. Now I'm missing quite a bit of stuff, actually. Well, that's not a 2. What am I missing in this box? This one is not a 1, so that is the 1. That's an 8. So that's a 4, 5, 4, 8. Another coin. I'm still scared whenever I fill in those coins that I just missed something with my scanning, because I tend to. That's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 9. What am I missing in this row? It is 1, 2, 3, 3. What am I missing in this box is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So we know that that's 5 and 7. That's now not a 7, that's not a 3. But that locks that in. That's not an 8, so that's an 8. So that's a 7, that's a 3. That is a 3. Should be able to do that now. That's a 6. That's a 3. That's a 9 and a 2. Can I place? No. Oh, that 3 places the 3 and the 6. So that places a 6 there. So that's not a 6. See, okay, that is somewhat easy Sudoku. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we know that we have the 8. So that's 8, 1. Then in this column, oh, well, let's just place the 1 and the 5 in to be full. I'm missing 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So that's a 7. That's the 2. And that's it. 5. I think I'm gonna wait with the portal. I am very interested. I like philominoes. But let's see what all we've done. I think we've completed the library. Yes. So what is this? This is the Hall of Illusions, grid 8. So 5, then grid X, and then this is grid 7. So yeah, that is 6. So we're about to enter grid 7. That's a lot of progress, and I even did 2 of the secrets. So that's I'm very glad with that progress. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day, and hopefully until next time. Thank you.